Well, hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to break down the 2025 solo series circuits here in the Midwest, primarily in Missouri. There's two kind of primary middle of the road bass circuits for those anglers that like to fish by themselves. You've got the Mo Solo Pro Series and you've got the Top 100 Solo Series events. Both of those are single angler events. They have anywhere from 5 to 7 events throughout the year where you fish by yourself and then qualify for the championship and possibly an elite event, that sort of thing at the end of the year. And for guys like me that really enjoy that format where you're responsible for yourself, your own decision making, you don't have to worry about putting the guy in the back of the boat on fish or sharing your fish with somebody else. It's a great format, and there's a couple of main circuits here. And actually, the great news is, for those of you that really like to bass fish, this year, if you want to, you can fish them both. And so both circuits, the Top 100 Solo Series, Baitworks sponsors them. Randy Conlon is the guy that runs that, a good guy, runs a real good circuit. The Solo Pro Series run by Russ McBurney, that's another good circuit there as well. And this year, unlike last year, whether by design or coordination or whatever is, they don't overlap each other this year. So if you want to fish both, you can. And I would encourage you to take a hard look at these if you're interested in this format. It's a great bunch of guys that fish the events. They usually have one a month on a variety of lakes across the Midwest here in central Missouri, South Missouri, Oklahoma occasionally, Arkansas occasionally, but it's a fairly regional, Midwestern focused circuits. Both of these are kind of focused on Missouri as kind of the headquarters with branching out a little bit. I don't know what I'm going with that. Regardless, they're great circuits. I'll break down the 2025 schedules that they just announced on their Facebook pages here about a month ago. And we'll start with March with the Top 100 Solo Series. So on March 2nd, they're going to be on Lake Ozark at a PB2. And so obviously that time of year, there's a lot of patterns at play. Your jig pattern on rocky banks, chunk rock, that sort of thing. The jerk bait pattern is always good around the docks, on secondary points, on channel swings. A-rigs, if you like to throw the A-rigs, they're allowed in both of these circuits. That's available. I hate to give this out here, but if you like throwing a Shad Rap and getting behind other guys, that's a good pattern for you as well too. So that's going to be a great start to the Top 100 series on Lake of the Ozarks. Solo Pro is having their first tournament of the year on the 16th of March, also on Lake of the Ozarks at a PB2, so just a couple weeks later. And both of these circuits all have their events on Sundays. So if you're a working person, not able to take off work, you at least get Saturday to pre-fish if you want. Personally, I've had good luck. Let me rephrase that. Personally, I've had okay luck on Lake of the Ozarks in March. You figure you're going to need 18 to 20 pounds probably to win. Guys that know what they're doing are going to bring them in. They always do. I've had decent luck on wiggle warp patterns on rocky banks, especially if the water's got a little color to it. Last year I did okay throwing a Shad Rap on one of those bluebird no wind days where it was super tough on everybody. I picked up a few on a Shad Rap on that pattern on an 8-pound line, kind of fishing finesse behind some other folks there on the glaze arm. So that's what's going on to start off both of these circuits in 2025. So in April, the Top 100 series is going to be on Table Rock on the 6th. And I believe that's out of Mill Creek. No, they haven't announced yet, so it's to be announced. So they have not set a ramp for the April 6th tournament on Table Rock for the Solo Series. April on Table Rock is going to be awesome. Such a phenomenal lake anyway. A variety of patterns will be available there. Wiggle warp pattern, jigs are always good. Anything that you want probably in April, fish will be up shallow. You can catch them a variety of ways. Finesse rigs, whatever you want to do, that's a good month for you there. In April, the Solo Pro Series is going to be at Grand on the 27th. So they're going to Oklahoma, and they're out of Wolf Creek. And that's kind of the primary ramp where they're having a lot of the tournaments out at Grand Lake now. It's where they host, when the Classic goes there, the Bassmaster Classic, they typically go out of Wolf Creek ramp. Again, in April 27th there, you're probably talking some fish, a shallow water bite. There'll be a lot of big fish brought in on that Grand Lake tournament there at Wolf Creek. 3 years ago, I did really good on Grand. I think it was a March tournament heading up the Elk River, catching some jig fish up in that cleaner water up the Elk River a good ways. There had 17, 18 pounds, something like that, and did well on that one. So already you've got 4 great circuits that don't overlap with each other starting off the spring, so that's something to be excited about. In May, the next event for the Top 100 series is going to be on May 4th, and they're going to Pawnee. And that'll be out of the harbor down by the dam. May on Pomme de Terre should be phenomenal. If the water's high, they'll be up in the bushes. You can get a great flipping bite going. Oh, that's so much fun. And if it's not, there's a million other ways you can catch them on their wacky rigs, bouncing a crankbait off the rocks, a jig, spinner bait, jerk bait, you name it. You can catch them a variety of ways in May. Probably close to a spawning tournament. They should be getting ready to be on the beds by then if they're not already. For the Solo Pro Series in May, they're going to Table Rock. And that is on the 18th. And that one's out of Mill Creek. And I've not fished out of that ramp before, but it's not too far from Kimberling City. It's just west of the Highway 13 bridge on the south side of the lake. You'll have access to any different parts of the lake there. But, a May 18th tournament on Table Rock, there'll probably be some bedfish there. There'll probably be in all 3 phases of the spawn between bed and fish, probably some post-spawn fish as well. That ought to be a slugfest as well. Catch them in any number of ways. Top water, wacky rigs, finesse baits, power fishing, you name it. That May 18th tournament on Table Rock should be phenomenal as well. I finally did halfway decent there last year in a springtime tournament. I figured out I had, 14 pounds, 13, 14 pounds, something like that. Throwing a variety of football jigs, shad wraps. I'm trying to think what else I was throwing. I think I threw a little bit of wiggle warts too. Caught a few fish doing that, but that'll be a good event there for folks that want to fish that clear water down at Table Rock. Let's talk about June. June coming up. June's a popular month on Truman, right? So both circuits are going to Truman in the month of June. So on the 22nd, the Solo Series is going out of Sterrett, which is down by the dam. A June tournament on Truman will be another slugfest, right? Catch them any number of ways you want to. Top water, bouncing crankbaits off the wood, probably flipping the pull timber, square bills, football jigs, you name it. June on Truman should be phenomenal. I'm expecting some big weights for that one. That'll be another fun event. And then just a week later, out of Shawnee Bend on the 29th, Solo Pro is going there as well. And they're going out of Shawnee. And again, same thing. That event should be another slugfest that time of year. Fish will be transitioning from their spawning patterns, post-spawn patterns, moving out to some of their deeper water habitats. But on Truman, there's relatively shallow fish year-round, depending on what part of the lake you want to fish. But I expect both of those tournaments to be probably taking 17, 18 pounds or better to win there, if not more. So those should be good events. July and August, Solo Pro does not have events during those 2 months. I'm okay with that. Missouri's got their culling regulations in July and August for bass tournaments anyway. It just adds a whole bunch of challenges and complexity to the tournaments there, and I'll keep my opinions to that personal. But anyway, July has an event on Stockton on the 20th for the Top 100 series. And that one should be interesting. They are going out of Orleans Trail down by the dam. And so that one might be pretty tough. Hot summertime, July 20th, daytime tournament on Stockton. I'm anticipating probably some brush pile fish out a little bit deeper, your offshore humps, your drop-offs, your ridges, places where fish are going to be pulling out to in the summertime down in that clear water. You may be able to run way up the Big Sac, Little Sac, or Turnback Creek arms and find some shallower fish up there. But I expect that July 20th tournament on Stockton to be probably a deeper fish tournament, offshore brush piles, that sort of thing. The one here in August, this one's really interesting. So August is going to be on, let's see, the 17th on Lake of the Ozarks. Now, at first glance, you're thinking August tournament on Lake of the Ozarks on a Sunday. You've got to be kidding me, right? But it is out of Bledsoe Ferry. And so Bledsoe Ferry is way up the Osage River, right below Truman Dam there at Warsaw. So basically, it's an Osage River tournament. So that way, you should be able to avoid a lot of the big lake boat crowd, like always exists on Lake of the Ozarks. But by going out of Bledsoe Ferry, you can just spend some time up in the river, hopefully avoiding some of that bigger boat traffic, and probably have a decent river bite. I imagine pitching some docks and flipping docks up there that time of year might get you some pretty good bags. So that one's going to be pretty interesting. I'm really excited about that one too. By the time you hit September and October, you start getting into the championships for both circuits. Solo Pro has their final regular season event on the 7th, and that's going to be on Stockton. But what I like about that one is it's out of Ruark Bluff. And Ruark Bluff, for those of you that aren't familiar with Stockton, is a little bit farther up the river, a little bit ways from the dam, where if you want to have access to Turnback Creek or the Big Sac arm of the lake, you can get there relatively easily from the Ruark boat ramp. You're not limited to just being down there in that clear water closer to the dam. So for a guy like me that fishes out of the jet boat more often than not, I like that option because that'll give me a chance to run up the river and maybe find some shallower river fish, because that September tournament time frame is just tough anyway. You know that going in, right? You're going to have fish deep. You're going to have a few fish maybe starting to show up shallow, maybe up in the rivers, and fish suspended. They're just all over the place that time of year. So that one might be a tough tournament, but the fact that it's out of Ruark has me pretty excited, so I am looking forward to that. In September, Top 100 Series will have their championship on September 20th and 21st. And they have not announced the location for that yet. It's to be determined. That's a 2-day event. Randy puts on a real good championship. Last year we were on Pommy. We fished that there. He runs a good circuit. There's only 25 boats in it. And first place last year was guaranteed $10,000. So, I mean, you got a decent chance to make some decent money if you can make the championship in the Solo Series event. Again, Randy runs a good event, fed us some pizza the night before. Just a very well-run event, so I'm excited to have a crack at making that next year as well. In October, the final kind of event for both of these circuits, to my knowledge so far, is the Solo Pro Championship on the 11th and 12th. And also that is to be determined as well. Not sure where that one's going to be at. I think this past year they were at Truman. They've gone to Truman. They've been at Lake of the Ozarks before. I think the year I fished their championship, we had first day on Pommy and the second day was on Stockton. So Russ likes to kind of make things a little bit challenging for their championship. He likes to make it challenge for the anglers that qualify for that event. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So that's what's going on there. Also, and I've not seen official news yet, but Solo Pro will have a top 10 elite event. They usually do every year, and that I'm not sure when that's going to be yet. I didn't see it on their website or on their Facebook page yet, but there may be another opportunity in November to fish a no entry fee top 10 elite event for Solo Pro, and that's a lot of fun. The first year they had that, or one of the first years they had that, I fished it. We went down to Taneycomo, and that was awesome. They don't tell you where you're going until like the night before or the morning of. They tell you where to meet, and then you go wherever they tell you to. And so we were at Taneycomo a few years ago on that and had a great event there. And you're guaranteed to get payback there. And if you qualify for their top 10 elite, it's no entry fee. So you're guaranteed to make some money without paying an entry fee there. So another a good circuit there. But anyway, I wanted to break these down for everybody because I'm getting really excited about next year's circuits already. I'm going to look for some more this fall and winter as well. But since I've retired, I have time now. I'm going to try and fish them both. And for the first year, they're not overlapping with each other, so a person can do that if you want to. For those of you that are not familiar with either of these circuits, entry fees are fairly reasonable. Again, they're solo events, so you're not paired up with a co-angler or an amateur or whatever in the back. Entry fees, I think last year in Solo Pro, I only fished one or two last year because they overlapped. Last year in 2024, they were $275, I believe, entry fee. Top 100 was $300 per entry fee, so their entry fees are fairly similar. Both circuits are very similar to each other. Both these guys, Russ and Randy, do a good job running their events. They try and find a happy medium between decent payouts and reasonable entry fees. And there's a no-win situation there, right? If you want greater payouts, you're probably going to have to spend more on the entry fee. You want lower entry fees, you can probably expect lower payouts on the back end, depending on what kind of sponsor help both of these circuits get to help with the anglers there. That said, you can expect, on average, 30 to 60 boats. I mean, at one time during the pandemic, or right around the pandemic, Solo Pro was getting 75 or better boats in there. But I think with the market being saturated, everybody's kind of competing with each other. I'm hopeful in 2025, since they don't overlap, that they will bring more anglers to each event, increase the payouts, increase the competition, and make it a little bit more enjoyable and profitable for these guys, right? Because they're a business for them. You gotta expect those guys are supposed to make some amount of money as well. They're not doing this just for free and out of the goodness of their heart. They're trying to operate a business too. So the anglers want a good competitive circuit where they have a chance to make a little bit of money, and the businesses got to be able to make a profit as well, and work with their sponsors to promote them also. So the competition is solid, and for the most part, you get a few guys that'll jackpot them every now and then. I think there was a couple of guys that jackpotted the Truman tournament last year on the Solo Series in August, and it kind of blew everybody away. And then a couple of years ago on Solo Pro, you had an elite guy that kind of jackpotted a few tournaments there. And I know that turned some folks off, but I'm not faulting Russ for that. That's just something that's a decision that angler made on his own. Whatever, go make your money with the big boys and let the working anglers have their circuits to themselves. With that said, I would encourage you to look at the websites for both these series. Look at their Facebook page. Give them some thought. They're a lot of fun. There's a lot of good anglers. There's solid anglers, but you have a chance to be competitive as well. For me and my aluminum jet boat, it's allowed in both of these events, and it's not an advantage, I can assure you. It limits where I can go, but you can still be competitive out of a jet boat. You just got to learn to fish more often than not within 4 to 5 miles of the takeout, and hope the wind doesn't blow like hell, because on a flat bottom jet boat does not do good on the wind on big lakes. But regardless, you can do well if you learn how to fish a little bit different and adapt to the conditions you're faced with. So with that, hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you think about the tournament schedules. Again, I'm going to try and fish both if at all possible. Let me know what you guys are going to do. Good group of anglers, good circuits, decent payback, and just a lot of fun. And so when the tournaments do get here, I'll try and provide video footage of all of those as well, let you know how I'm doing, what's working, what didn't work, do a debrief afterwards. But these are a lot of fun, gang. So if you get a chance, give them some thought, and we hope to see you on the water next year. Hey, if you like this video, check out our Bass Derby and Wildlife Habitat playlists for more great content. For fast and easy outdoor cooking recipes, check out our YouTube Shorts playlist. And finally, shout out to all the conservation professionals who make these outdoor adventures possible. Protect, conserve, and connect. As always, remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when the next video drops. Thanks for watching, everybody.